Hey everyone, welcome into the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast with Matt and Brian, powered by Game 7 Baseball. The tournament season is in full swing, and YBM will be out this weekend at Grand Slam Ballpark for the Armed Forces Day Classic. So stop by the studio, say hello, and we're also going to have some giveaways, including some baseball cards. And we're going to start here, though, with Mr. Pete Rose. We have a set courtesy of Show Me Collectibles in O'Fallon, Missouri. All you have to do is leave a comment, get entered in for the running to win this right here. And who doesn't like Pete Rose?
I don't know if some of these kids know who Pete Rose is.
That's what I'm wondering. Do we really know who Pete Rose is? And Charlie Hustle, we thought about that, but you know what? This has got a signed card. Now, I know Pete signs a lot of cards and stuff, but this has got an autographed card in it as well. So I think it's a pretty cool deal. So make sure you leave your comment, like the show, let us know what you think. We appreciate it. And you'll be in the running to win a 10-card set here of Pete Rose cards. I think it's a pretty good deal. If you're joining with us today and you have not already, please hit the subscribe button. I'll spit that out in a minute. Subscribe. Hit the dinger, because that's what we do around here. We hit dingers and get all your notifications for more upcoming episodes of YBMcast. And today, as always, we're joined by our good friend at PBR Missouri, Kevin Mulder. Kevin, how are you doing today?
Doing great. It's getting down to that time of year, fun time of year for high school baseball players and fans and coaches, and I'm doing well and excited about it.
Absolutely. Matt Shadow, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Ready. We're ready to go. Playoff baseball, baby. This is where it gets fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's jump in the middle of this. First, I want to give a shout out. We've had Mitch Thomas from the Hitting Zone started being a contributor on YBMcast. We're talking perspective on things. He's coaching the freshman Timberland team. They're in the championship game of the GAC freshman tournament. Congrats to him. That was a big win last night. They scratched. There was a tie ball game in the sixth inning. They scratched out a couple runs, beat Fort Zumwalt West. Dominic Horn from the Midwest Futures plays on that freshman team. Threw a shutout bottom of the seventh and locked it up, man. It was a really good win for those guys. So congrats to Mitch and Timberland freshman squad. They're going to play Holt in the championship game.
There you go.
Little freshman baseball there for you guys. Everybody's going, what? No, it's good, right? We're watching those kids. Those are the 2024s, right?
That's the future. That's the 24s. That's right.
And I like Dominic Horn. That's Donnie Horn. I've followed their squad quite a bit. It's good folks. But Dominic Horn, I don't know if he's been in a PBR or not yet.
No, he has. I've seen him. He's a good player.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, you tried to catch him off guard, didn't you?
I know, I did.
Yeah,
I chucked it at him.
You can't catch Kevin off guard. Kevin knows. Kevin knows everybody.
But no, he is a good player. I've watched him for a while, for the last couple of years, and Dominic's good. He was playing first base, and I know that's not. He's been catching. He kind of plays all over the place right now, and can still pitch. And I mean, he did a good job. All right, guys, we all ready for this? We're gonna start in Class 3. Now, I'm not going to go through all these districts because there's 16 of them, but I'm going to touch on a couple of teams that were in your small school rankings. Saxony Lutheran is playing Kelly High School, and they're on deck, and that's in District 2. Do you know much about? I mean, Saxony Lutheran, I think you've seen, right, Kevin?
Yeah, I haven't seen them play, but I know some of their players. They got a good squad. They're kind of led by Eli Brown, a left-handed pitcher heading to Lindenwood. they've been tough all year, and they've been in those rankings pretty much throughout. So they've been super consistent the entire year. That's a team we knew about before the year, and they have lived up to the expectations. So that's a strong group there.
And then you got Father Tolton down in District 8. And I think the big one really is in District 15, St. Pius X out of Kansas City.
Now that is a group that's a stout group. St. Pius has got a really strong class. Chase Wilcox heading to Central Missouri. Jack Mosh, who's a junior, going to Mizzou. Carter Muck, junior, going to KU. They got a really good group. That's a talented group, and you could see them playing all the way to the end for sure.
And I think that, right there, it's just a lot of talent. Just a lot of talent. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
That's a lot of talent for any class.
Right.
Right.
And as you were saying, I think you said a couple weeks ago, they're one of those schools that's in that lower class, but will go up and play some of the bigger schools too, won't they?
Yes. Yep. Definitely.
They ain't walking away from anybody. So let's so we got class 3. Let's jump into class 4 real quick, because you got a lot in your small school here rankings, starting at District 1 with Kennett. We've talked about them pretty much all season, haven't we?
Kennett's a strong group. That's they're led by a couple Arkansas commits. Reese Robinette, a left-handed hitter, can really swing the bat. He also pitches in high school and is a good high school pitcher, but he's gonna be a hitter in college. Riley Henfling's a sophomore going to Arkansas. Trey Gardner, left-handed hitting first baseman, going to Little Rock. Tanner Duncan, another left-handed hitter that was with us at the Future Games. They're loaded, and they got a couple Three River commits. That's an extremely, extremely talented group down there.
So you're looking that just talent-wise, that's a team that's going to be sitting there probably. They could come into that semifinals looking at that opportunity for a state
I think
title.
that's a team that if you're shocked if they don't make it to the Final Four.
Right.
I would be shocked if
that's
they
a
don't
fair
make it to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Because because if you're looking at District 1 through District 8, the teams that they're going to really kind of face is maybe Valley Catholic, which you got at number 9, Southern Boone at number 5. Fatima's on deck, and then you have Blair Oaks also. So in that top half of that bracket, that's teams that they're potential facing off with Kennett. And Blair Oaks is no joke.
Ooh, Blair Oaks is the real deal as well. Will Lippert is one of the top arms in the 23 class. He's an SEC caliber type recruit. I'm not saying he'll pick an SEC school, but he is the real deal left-hander that pitches in the mid to upper 80s. They're having a very big year, and certainly not. They're our number 1 ranked small team, so they have high expectations heading into the postseason.
And that's interesting. They are ranked number 1 in your small school, but they're the number 2 seed in their district. That surprised me.
And who's the number 1?
Fatima.
Ah, okay.
Fatima, you got him on deck in the small schools.
Yep.
So, but I was really surprised by that. So that'll be interesting to flesh out there. So that's kind of the top half of that the districts and into the state playoffs. And in from 9 through 16, you got I think the top dog sitting there is Springfield Catholic at number 2.
Extremely deep team, a lot of talent, led by Jeremy Radar, the shortstop heading to Missouri State. They got a quality left-handed pitcher, Colin Davis, going to Butler University in Indianapolis. They have been rolling most of the season, so that's another really strong group.
So and then you have they're right off the bat. They got Logan Rogersfield in their district, which you have number 7. So Springfield Catholic and Logan Rogersfield, 1-2 in that district. That's going to be a tough one right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of good baseball in the Springfield, Missouri area, and Logan Rogersville is that's a tough draw for a very good Springfield Catholic team. But in Missouri high school baseball, it's single elimination, and I can promise you, Logan Rogersville is capable of beating anybody on a given night. So that'll be an interesting one to have an eye on.
The good thing is you take Kennett and Blair Oaks, which are the 1 and 3. One's in District 1, one's in District 8. They wouldn't meet until the championship game.
Semifinals, right?
They would not meet until the championship game.
Really? So it breaks out differently than I thought it broke out the other way around.
They would meet June 1st at 1:30.
Wow.
That would be a good championship game.
Yes, it would.
Matt's got a red circle around that one.
Yes, I do.
There you go. That's a haiku right there, bro.
There we go.
So
it's set up different for that class than it is for Class 5.
Okay.
Because there's so many district champions.
Yeah. And then just, in District 11, you got Aurora and Hollister, 2 teams that are on deck in your small school there, Summit Christian, Odessa. So that the bottom half of those districts, 9 through 16, there's still some really good quality baseball in Class 4, and I think it's going to be that'll be a fun tournament to watch.
Absolutely, that's pretty good baseball, deep teams, and Aurora and Hollister in particular, they were in the top 10 for most of the year, and just recently slipped out. So they also are programs with high expectations, and certainly wouldn't surprise me to see a deep run out of either of those teams.
Very good. So let's get into some Class 5 here. All right, we're getting into the big boys. We've got 8 districts, and survive in advance, baby. Yeah. Survive in advance. Right? I love that format. I really do. What do you guys think about the format?
No, it's great. I mean, it's no other way to do it. It's, single elimination. You've been playing all season to try to get a good seed. So
right.
You try to get a good seed, and now it comes down to, like, as Kevin and I have discussed before, do you throw down or do you start with the 1 and work back? It's from a coaching perspective, it's always curious to see how somebody plays it. And if it works, you call them a genius. If it doesn't work, you call them a bad coach.
Right. Right.
I mean, but you could have your number 5 throw a gem, and they're like, oh, my God, this guy's a genius.
It does put a lot of pressure on the coaching staffs to make some tough and interesting decisions. And, it does set up not necessarily the best team will win every game. But it is a fun way to do it, and I really don't know any alternative that they could realistically do with the time frame that these guys are on. Every game is Game 7 of the World Series for these kids, so it makes for some exciting baseball.
Let's start here. We got some games that finished up in Class 5 yesterday. You had Willard got a win, which was they beat Rockbridge 6-3, which is Rockbridge, of course, a Class 6 team, which is a good win. St. Charles put a beat down on Lutheran St. Charles yesterday, 9-1. East went over to Dominic and beat them. That's a 20-win season for East. So you had some. Let's take a look.
Well, right now, I would say the big thing for teams playing at the moment, if you're throwing somebody, it's to win your conference because you're on the border of trying to win your conference, which is normally the number one goal for all these people. 2, they're setting up their matchups for Monday, Wednesday of next week.
Right.
Or whenever you start. You're setting up your rotation for next week. So you got to throw the guy that's going to come back and throw Monday and make sure that, hey, throw him for 3. Let's just kind of get your work in.
And there's still quite a few ball games left today.
Right, but my point is you have to set up your rotation for what matters, which is the playoffs. If you're not going to win your conference, then these games honestly don't mean anything except for it's basically a practice game to set up your rotation.
Well, and I watched
and to stay fresh. Would you not agree?
No, that's dead on. Teams are starting to set up their rotations. The schedule, there are a decent slate of games today, but it does really taper off. Normally Saturday and Friday are big days around here, and it's very, very light, which makes sense as teams line up their pitching and want everyone fresh for next week when the real thing starts.
Right. And yesterday, Hal beat Timberland 7-1, and I went and watched I think the first 4 innings of that game, and Hackman was on the mound, pitching, and he was struggling finding the strike zone, but I'm not quite sure. I didn't find out the kid's name that was pitching for Hal. His number was 15, but I just didn't know who that was. And I wish I would have. I just didn't get it. So there you go. But yeah. But he was throwing well. He was throwing a lot of strikes in the strike zone, threw a lot of ground balls, pitched very well for Hal. And Hal's got to go play MICDS today. So they're finishing up today at MICDS. So when you look at how these teams, as you guys are saying, setting up for Monday, the decisions are there. You've got Class 5 just here locally, which is your number 3 team on your large schools, Parkway West. They lost a tough one yesterday. Rockwood Summit in that district, and then you've got Westminster Christian Academy in District 3, and Chaminade right behind them as the 2 seed. In District 4, it's Zumwalt South and Zumwalt East. District 5 is Willard and St. Francis Borgia. District 6 is Webb City and Carl Junction. 7, Grain Valley and Marshall. And 8 is Smithville and Platte County. And for the most part, you've got a lot of those teams either in the top 10 or on deck. Yeah. So let's start with just around here. Let's start with Parkway West and Rockwood Summit. What are you seeing out of that district there?
Those are 2 really good teams. Parkway West has just been on fire. I know you said they dropped the game yesterday. They've run up a really gaudy record. What is that, their 3rd loss now? The one they had yesterday. So, I mean, that's out of the large schools, 5 and 6, that's the least amount of losses that I'm aware of any team having. So they are battle tested. They've won a lot of games. They got good starting pitching. Luke Wright's kind of led the way from them. They have a freshman named Benno that's I believe 6-0 for them. That's doing really well. What separates them to me though, they have phenomenal infield defense. It is a separator for them. I mean, you notice it if you're a baseball guy and you're out there watching how well they field ground balls. They have a really nice shortstop named Elliot Cruson, who's going to Dartmouth, who can really pick it at shortstop. Rangy kid, good arm. They got 2 brothers, Griffin and Gannon Snyder, that are doing really well. Gannon's a sophomore, is going to be a nice recruit. Griffin, I believe, is going to St. Mary's University, a D1 out in California. Cooper Walkoff. That's a really good group. They got a good catcher, TJ Lang, behind the dish. So they're set up. But Rockwood Summit, they've gone out and played a great schedule. I've seen them multiple times. I saw them play Zumwalt West earlier in the year. Now they came out on the wrong side, but the point is they're challenging themselves. They've played great competition. Jack Meyer kind of leads that crew there in a real good team, and they got some good arms. Matt Haley's a good pitcher. Going to Parkland, so it's a really strong group.
Since they redid this, you have only 8 districts for Class 5 and Class 6. So if you win your district, you're in the final 8.
Yeah, you're in the quarters. Right.
It's Elite Eight. So your matchup if you win your district, it's a tough matchup right out the gate.
No matter what.
Right. So let's take like Parkway West, for example. They're scheduled to play Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, barring any rainouts. So if you said, okay, I'm going to throw this guy on Monday, you're probably not bringing him back Thursday unless it's to close the game out.
Right.
So that's where I always like to watch and see how people play.
And honestly, you might not even be able to do that with the pitch count rules. It depend on how many pitches that starter threw, and to your point, whether rain comes into play or not. But if you don't have that certain day rest, then they're not allowed to come back.
This is where it goes back from day one when we sat here and spoke about depth.
Absolutely.
100%. This is when the depth matters. Is for one, just getting through districts, because you get through districts, you've got big games coming up, but there's more of a gap.
And
because you can throw your number one on May 29th, and then throw your number one for the Final Four on June 4th, and then throw your two on June 5th.
And this
for
goes,
this class.
This goes back to a point I made about Liberty. In their district. Well, I know we're jumped to Class 6, but yet Caden Jacoby coming off the surgery. He's on a pitch count. So how much you getting out of him? Is that depth really there? Does that hinder you in this type of tournament? I think it does, because we're talking about depth. We're talking about pitch counts. That becomes a real big issue for the coach.
Yes, but I think the way this schedule is set up is if, they take a Westminster, if they win their district, whoever gets them first game on the Elite Eight and then the Final Four, you're seeing a D1 arm. That's a tough matchup.
You're probably seeing the top the pitcher that's going to get drafted the highest in the state twice in a row there. And Nick Moten, so that'll be tough.
Yeah, and you just posted on Instagram, he was 94, 95 just yesterday, day before, right?
Yesterday he was 91, 94. He gave up his first earned run of the season, but he made it to 30 innings before he gave up his first earned run of the year. Struck out 10 and was really impressive. Had another pro turnout there for him. He's gotten a lot of attention. I went – because you never know in postseason. So I went there yesterday just in case it was his last outing of the year, because you do never know. An upset could happen. You don't know the orders kids are going to pitch in. So I wanted to see him one more time before the draft, and he did not disappoint. A thing about him that's a little different than a lot of high school guys is you do see, some of the big arms will flash the big number early, like in the first inning or two. Nick Moten hit 94 3 or 4 times in his final inning of work in the 6th inning, which tells you he's put together, he's strong, he's able to hold his velocity. That says a lot, about his abilities.
So you take, if he wins, if Westminster wins District 3, they match up against District 4. Mm-hmm. So you take District 4, and let's just say Zumwalt East wins District 4. Now you've got an Austin Young, Nick Moten matchup round 1, which is...
That's a big-time matchup there.
Yeah, get to 2 rounds and win.
That's fun. And, I will tell you...
that would be fun to watch, and there would be a ton of people watching that game.
Yes,
sign me up to watch that one.
That would be. And because AY just pitched yesterday, I think it was.
Did you just say AY?
Yeah.
Well, you've nicknamed them already.
That's right, baby. Right. I talked to his parents a little bit at the ball game the other day. He missed the game against that Gateway Legacy Senior High. Have you heard about that team? I'd never heard of them before.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They're a group of Dominicans that have come into this school. And this kid on the mound, he's a lefty. He was throwing 88, 87, 88. He topped, I think at the end, the coach told me he hit 91. and I've got his name in an email. I have to get it to you. But these kids, the third baseman who come in and closed the game, he was throwing mid-80s. He hit 2 home runs. I was like, I'd never seen these kids. And they are. And the catcher behind the plate for this Gateway Legacy, the kid looks like Yadier Molina, and he plays like him. He hit a home run. I guarantee he hit that ball 400 feet. I mean, it got out in a hurry. I mean, it's just like, dang. But East scored 5 runs on those kids and a couple of walks in that game. It's a lot closer game.
So that team it's basically 2 teams combined. So you're looking at 30 kids. So they kind of rotate who plays when.
Yes.
And they can't technically get in the league because some of them are aged out. So it's there's some 19-year-old kids in that.
Right, because they're bringing them up,
talent.
which you understand.
Mm-hmm, but there is talent.
There's a lot of talent. I was really surprised. But going back but East was able to put some runs up on these kids. So, I mean, Nick Moten's another whole ball game in that respect. But I don't think they're going to be daunted by that. I think they've seen enough arm-wise to where that could be a really fun matchup. You got the pitching duel. I think it'd be a really good matchup. I think Westminster would come out on top. That's just what I think, seeing what I've seen. But I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I'd like to see it happen. So
I would too. Let's move down here. Now we've talked a little bit about Willard, and then Francis Borgia. Both good squads there. Francis Borgia is usually around the top every year, aren't they?
They're always in the mix. Yeah.
So I think you got that. Webb City, we know what we're going to get from them. They're usually in that top. And I don't know that much about these teams. Like Carl Junction, I have no clue. None. So I'm sorry, Carl Junction. I just don't know enough about you. But you're the 2 seed. That's good. Smithville, Platte County, you've got those guys on deck. Do you know what you got going on there?
Yeah, Smithville is coming off a 19-game win streak, I believe, in a pretty good team. They just dropped one on Saturday last weekend, but any team that can win 19 in a row is going to be a good team. Platte County has a strong group as well. Both teams have been in the on-deck part of the rankings, and that Kansas City area is good, so it's going to be fun to watch that side of the state as well.
Very good. Who do you see sitting in the top 4 there? I mean, you got, in this way it's broke up, you got 1 through 4, right, in the district. The way that comes through, if you got Parkway West, you got Westminster, East sitting there. I mean, where do you see who's getting into the championship there?
Who's getting into the championship?
I mean, I think Parkway West and Westminster, that's going to be tough. I think if you pick against one of those teams.
I think Westminster is going to be, if Westminster can win their district, I think they're a shoe-in for the finals.
There you go.
That's my personal opinion, because I just don't see anybody beating Moten, and he's going to throw twice. He'll throw the Elite Eight, and he'll throw the semifinal game.
That's pretty tough.
I would put my money on that kid
to
win them those 2 games, and then he can win a district game for him. It just depends when do you throw in districts.
I think he's
the best arm. He's the best arm.
Yeah, it's easy when you hear he gave up his first earned run after 30 innings.
Yeah, but he's also committed to the number 1 team in the country,
right?
In Arkansas. Right. So clearly they see what we see.
Yeah,
you throw 94, but it's electric. I mean, he's electric on the mound, and you can't say that about every kid. Yeah.
He also has good breaking ball. He throws strikes. He does some things. And to your point, though, like if they match up with Austin Young and Zumwalt East, Austin Young's no slouch. I mean, he's really good. So that will be a dogfight. But those teams got to get there. I mean, Chaminade, they have a kid. They got the Weber brothers there. Jack's going to St. Louis University. Charlie's a 2022 recruit that was a future game participant. Especially on the mound with one of those two pitchings, Chaminade could, cause some problems. Now, they don't have as much depth offensively as a Westminster, but you know how it goes. Pitching can win a ball game, carry you in the postseason. So it'll be fun to watch.
Like I said, we're gonna get to Class 6 here real quick, but I just want to finish off by saying, I mean, there's some opportunities. Willard, Francis, Borgia, Webb City. I think any of those teams could get to the other side in the championship there bracket. What do you think?
The other sleeper on the other side, not a sleeper because they've been good. Green Valley is a team to watch, which is kind of between Warrensburg and Kansas City. I saw them play earlier in the year. They got a really good group. So I would look for those guys possibly making a Final Four run as well.
Green Valley, right?
Green Valley, yeah.
Okay, all right. We're gonna keep up to date on this throughout the. Once we get through districts here, we get some updates. It'll be a lot of fun. So, I think that Class 5, we're looking, Westminster, Parkway West, Green Valley coming out of the bottom side. It's going to be fun. We'll see some good matchups. Let's get to the big boys, Class 6. We got District 1 is Lindbergh and Vianney. And I'm going to say right now, based on Kevin's assessment of Lindbergh and kind of nobody's talking about them. I'm going to pick them as my sleeper right in there, dude.
They're the number 1 seed.
I know.
Is that a sleeper?
I know, but nobody's talking about them.
Let's be realistic. I can't go against Vianney at this point. I've already made my bed with him, so.
There you go. And we were talking about them a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about Lindbergh and just the talent, and they've been winning a lot of baseball, but they're not getting, you see, of course, the CBCs, Francis Howell, and CBC DeSmet in that District 2, District 3, Francis Howell, Lafayette 1 and 2, District 4, Zumwalt West and Timberland, District 5, Jeff City, Rockbridge, District 6, Kickapoo and Republic, and in District 7, Raymore, Peculiar, and Lee Summit, District 8, Liberty, North, and Park Hill.
So District 7 is really probably the one that I would say personally that I don't know much about.
Right.
That's with the Lee Summit and Raymore, Rockhurst.
I'll say this. Ray-Pac has some big-time pitching. They got a sophomore named Caden Wilson that's going to committed to LSU. So you run into that type of arm, you got to pack a lunch type thing. They are capable of beating anyone on any day. Lee Summit's got a solid team. They got a catcher going to Central Missouri. But it maybe not as much of the household names as some of the other programs, certainly.
So you're looking at, obviously, pitching is what comes into play when you get into an event like this. But I would say, Raymore, if you're touting arms, they're the 1 seed for a reason.
And then it comes back to the old word of the day, depth.
That's right.
But the 2 districts that are huge that I've said from day one, District 4, which has got Zumwalt West, Liberty, Timberland, Holt, Hickman, Troy, and District 8, which has Liberty North, Park Hill, Staley, and Liberty.
And to me, District
you can't
8,
throw down in there.
You're 5 deep in that district, right?
Both
you're
of them.
5 deep.
Yeah.
And let's point this out too. District 6, the same thing with Kickapoo. You got Nixa, Joplin, and Lebanon in there as well. So District 6 is going to be it's no cakewalk either. So you got 3 districts that I think are really 5 teams deep and can really be a very difficult district to get out of. What do you think, Kevin?
It's going to be super competitive, and there's no question. I think Matt nailed the what I would consider the two deepest and toughest districts. That one over in Kansas City, I mean, honest to God, I could see 4 or 5 teams winning that thing. And whoever wins it, you can make a strong argument will have a chance to be a good chance to be the state champion.
So District 3 and District 4 play each other first round.
Mm-hmm.
District 3 has Howell as the 1 seed. District 4 has Zumwalt West as the 1 seed. Those guys have played each other all season long. And again, let's just say the 2 1s win their district. I'm just forecasting, say the 2 1s, and I'm not saying that's going to happen. But even if you take Lafayette, if they, win that district over, say, a Francis Howell or a Marquette, then they turn and play District 4, which could be a Timberland. The point is, those 2 districts match up round 1, and they're both very, very familiar with each other.
Multiple teams in both those districts could win state. And the shame of it is, not shame of it, but some of those teams that I'm saying could win state won't even get out of their district.
Right.
So that's how deep it is in those. So they not only could they win their district type teams, but they're state champion hopefuls. 3-4 deep in those districts.
The other team from District 1 that's not in the top 2 is Jackson. They're the 3 seed in District 1. And there's another team that quite possibly could make a run as well, right?
I saw them a couple weeks ago. They're very capable. They beat, at the time, the number 1 ranked small school in Kennett, who's extremely talented. Jackson is a strong group, and you throw them in there with Lindbergh and Vianney. That looks like a stout district as well.
Well, and before we go, we have to at least say the defending champion is still De Smet.
Absolutely.
And they are in a district that they can win, because let's just say they win the first 2 rounds, most likely they'll play CBC in the finals, which they're very familiar with CBC. And then if you win your district, you match up against District 1, which again, it's on the St. Louis side, and you have a Lindbergh or a Vianney, again, people that you've seen that you know. So
I'll say this too. In last time De Smet won the state championship, I believe they might have been sub 500 in the regular season.
Yeah,
they were.
So and they rode Logish, who is extremely talented at Indiana, to the state championship, and I saw them the other day. They have some nice players. They have a sophomore named Sam Cardwell that I truthfully did not know about, and now I do. He's 85, 88 sophomore with a live arm. They have some, Brian Rumping going to Western Illinois. Michael O'Brien has good numbers for him, a left-handed pitcher. So they are the defending champion, and they won't be intimidated by CBC. They're in conference. They're conference foes. So that'll be interesting as well to have an eye on.
The big to-do here, though, is who are you going to take? Who are you going to take coming out of these districts?
Which district are you referring to?
All of them.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have enough time for that.
No, just list it down. District 1, I'm going to take Lindbergh. I think Lindbergh's going to come out of that, even with Jackson Vianney there. I think to your point with De Smet, I mean, CBC's been like this all year, right?
Yep.
I just don't know, Francis Howell, Lafayette.
I don't know how you can go against Howell, honestly.
Lafayette's played good baseball all year.
That'd be a good, fun matchup. It really depends who's left on the mound by then.
I agree. And Lafayette's got some good arms.
It's hard to make a decision who's going to win the game because you don't even know who's throwing.
And I think that becomes the biggest thing is the difficulty. You're just looking at these teams as they move through. What depth do they have? How much depth do they have?
You're not saving an arm. You got to win the game. And you can deal with tomorrow.
Exactly.
So
Somewhat West is probably the deepest in pitching.
That's a very, very difficult district, but I would say
I think Timberland is too up and down.
The way they've
as well.
gone all year. I mean, they're like what Hargraves, I think, threw yesterday. Mm-hmm. So they're obviously getting him ready for next week. He may not even throw game one.
And you still got Hickman, which, Kevin, we've talked about. They've got good arms at Hickman, too.
Extremely talented. They got as good a 1-2 as there is in the state, in my opinion. So it's going to be fun to watch.
I like that. That.
For your pick in that district, because I want to hear it hold you to it.
Jeff City, one we hadn't brought up yet.
Very
Jeff
strong.
City, they're a good baseball team. I could see them coming out of there. I think Kickapoo's probably going to come out of that district down there. And we talked about, I think Park Hill. We've talked about their offense.
That's who I'm picking. That's the one team that I'm actually going to ride on offense.
I'm with you.
It's not really a stretch considering what the offense looks like, but I'm just saying, most time when you get into bracket play of any event or any tournament, you're riding a staff. But if they can get through the first couple games and then they can out-hit somebody in the last one of a district.
They've got the pitching, though, too, don't they, Kevin?
They have solid pitching. They don't have the household name that some of the other guys have. They don't have that kid that's signed at Big School U or whatnot. Now they have a bunch of hitters that are, but they don't have the the high profile. And my favorite pitcher on their team is actually Jake Danoff, who's also their starting shortstop, who's a really, really nice player. It's gonna be fun to see.
I think
they might have the hottest arm other than Moten in that district, and Troy Wansing for Staley, who I think is like the 4 or the 5 seed, who's also getting a lot of pro heat right now. So it's I wouldn't want to be playing Staley, who also has that pedigree as well.
So that district, Liberty North, could probably throw a number 2 against Oak Park or a number 3.
Yeah.
Then they're going to have to throw a 1 to beat Staley or Park Hill South. So then they're hoping that they have a 2 left to match up against Park Hill if Park Hill makes it to the finals. I mean, it really depends. Are you a coach that says, hey, I'm going to throw my 2 dudes and I'll get to the finals if I make a shot? Or do you say, I'm here to win it. This is the only way I foresee us winning it by throwing my 3 game 1 and then my 1 game 2 and my 2 game 3.
And I don't know who pitched, but we're looking at matchups. Yesterday, Staley did play Park Hill South and beat him 6-5. Yeah. So you're kind of looking at these matchups there.
Yeah, but these games right now, I'm taking.
Like I said, I don't know who was pitching.
The JV team could have been up. You don't know.
To give you guys, for instance, 3 weeks ago when I was in Columbia, Staley beat Zumwalt West with Wansing on the mound. So that would be.
So he'll probably throw game 1. He'll throw game 1. I would say he would have to against Park Hill South.
It will be. It will be interesting.
That's a 6-5 ball game.
And then Hickman lost only 1-0 to Zumwalt South in that championship game. So there you go. I think the margins for these for all these districts in this are small.
It's all about matchups.
It is.
It's all about matchups.
It is. It's all about matchups. So, man, here we go. Monday. I'm looking forward to it. I am. I'm pumped up about it, man. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Where are you going to head out to on Monday, Kevin?
Boy, you've gone on a day-to-day show. So yeah, I will. I'm looking forward to it. I will be out every single day that there's baseball played next week. I will be at one of these fields, and I have a lot of great options in front of me. That's for sure.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to head out. I'm putting it on my schedule to make sure I get out to some of these ball games.
Maybe Kevin can have you go out to a game and you can just film it while he's at a different game, and you can send him updates.
There you go. We'll be happy to do it, man.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to do it. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, guys. Kevin, as always, thanks, man. Appreciate you coming on, talking. Matt.
As always.
Yes, indeed. Guys, if you're, again, if you're liking what we're doing, please hit the subscribe, hit that dinger, get your notifications for all the upcoming episodes of YBMcast. We appreciate your support. And remember, like and comment. We're picking teams here. If you didn't like what we picked, tell us what you like. You get in for some Pete Rose here. All right? Everybody have a great day in the Lord, and all you pitchers, keep throwing strikes, and you hitters,
Hit them where they ain't.
good advice. We'll see you next time.